Commander Vexthorn adjusted his triple-jointed fingers on the tactical display, watching the human prisoner through the observation screen. The female specimen lay motionless on the containment platform, her breathing shallow and irregular. Perfect. The Neuraxian poison had worked exactly as intended. Status report, Lieutenant Quinn Zara, Vexthorn commanded, his mandibles clicking with satisfaction. The human designated Corporal Maya Blackstone has been unconscious for 3 hours, sir. Vital signs are, well, frankly bizarre, but consistent with our poison's effects, Quinn Zara replied, her purple skin flickering with confusion patterns. Her heart rate dropped to levels that should indicate death, yet she persists. Vexthorn let out what humans might call a chuckle, though it sounded more like grinding metal. Humans. Such fragile creatures. No wonder they lost the Proxima campaign so spectacularly. The Neuraxian camp stretched across the volcanic plains of Kepler 442b, a testament to their superior technology. Plasma barriers hummed with deadly energy, automated turrets swept the perimeter with thermal scans, and their battle cruiser cast an imposing shadow over the entire complex. 300 of the galaxy's most elite warriors, armed with weapons that could vaporize entire city blocks, all to contain one unconscious human soldier. Sir, if I may, Science Officer Rec Nolan approached cautiously, his 4 arms carrying data tablets. The human's biology continues to confound our understanding. The poison should have shut down her nervous system completely, yet her brain activity shows peculiar patterns. Peculiar how? Vexthorn demanded. It's almost as if she's resting. Like some form of restorative state rather than toxic shutdown. Rec Nolan's voice carried the uncertainty of someone whose PhD in xenobiology was being challenged by a single sleeping human. Vexthorn dismissed the concern with a wave of his clawed appendage. Impossible. Our poison has never failed against any carbon-based life form. The human will remain incapacitated until we extract the location of Earth's remaining defense coordinates. Through the transparent aluminum walls, Maya Blackstone looked deceptively peaceful. Her auburn hair spread across the metallic surface, her face relaxed in what appeared to be the deepest sleep of her life. The standard-issue Earth Defense Force uniform was torn and scorched from her capture, revealing the lean muscle definition that had made her such a formidable opponent during the skirmish at Titan Station. What exactly did she accomplish that has High Command so interested? Quinn Zara asked, reviewing the mission files on her wrist display. Single-handedly destroyed our supply depot on Europa, eliminated an entire strike team of our best hunters, and somehow managed to sabotage 3 of our dreadnoughts while they were in active combat, Vexthorn recited with grudging respect. The human military calls her the Ghost of the Outer Rim. Rather melodramatic, but I suppose it captures her effectiveness. One human did all that? The young lieutenant's voice cracked with disbelief. Humans are unpredictable, Lieutenant. That's what makes them dangerous despite their obvious physical limitations. Vexthorn's expression grew thoughtful. But this one is special even by their standards. The hours crawled by like wounded animals. Maya remained motionless, her chest rising and falling with mechanical precision. The Neuraxian guards began to relax their vigilance, convinced their prize was securely contained. By the 7th hour, boredom had settled over the camp like a suffocating blanket. Guards chatted about home, scientists ran unnecessary tests, and maintenance crews performed routine equipment checks with the enthusiasm of wet concrete. Her breathing pattern has changed, Rec Nolan announced suddenly, his voice cutting through the camp's lethargy. Vexthorn looked up from his strategic planning session. Changed how? It's deeper. More rhythmic. Almost like she's entering a different phase of unconsciousness. That's impossible. Our poison doesn't have phases. Sir, with respect, nothing about this human follows standard biological protocols. Rec Nolan's frustration was evident in the rapid color changes rippling across his skin. Her cellular recovery rate is accelerating. It's as if her body is using the poison-induced state to repair itself. Quinn Zara laughed, a sound like breaking glass. You're suggesting the human is healing while poisoned? That's absurd even by human standards. I'm suggesting we don't understand human physiology as well as we thought, Rec Nolan replied stiffly. Vexthorn studied the readouts with growing unease. Maya's brain activity was indeed changing, shifting from the scattered patterns of toxic shutdown to something more organized. More purposeful. Increase the poison dosage, he ordered. Sir, we've already administered enough to kill a Vraxian battle rhino. Any more might what, science officer? Kill her? She's supposed to be dying already. Rec Nolan hesitated, then activated the delivery system. A fresh dose of their most potent neurotoxin flowed through the foredrip into Maya's bloodstream. Nothing happened, her breathing didn't change. Her heart rate remained steady. If anything, she looked more comfortable than before. This is unprecedented, Rec Nolan whispered. The poison isn't just ineffective, it's being metabolized. Processed. Like her body is learning to use it as fuel. That's scientifically impossible, Quinzara protested. Tell that to the human, Vexthorn muttered darkly. Outside the containment unit, Maya Blackstone's lips curved into the faintest suggestion of a smile. Just for a moment. So brief that anyone watching might have dismissed it as an involuntary muscle twitch. But Vexthorn had been watching very carefully indeed. All units to high alert, he commanded, his voice suddenly sharp with alarm. Something is wrong. Sir? The human hasn't moved in 8 hours, exactly. What kind of creature sleeps through enough poison to kill a small army? Vexthorn's tactical instincts were screaming warnings he couldn't quite articulate. Double the guard rotation. Triple the sensor sweeps. And someone explained to me why a supposedly dying human looks more rested than she did when we captured her. The camp buzzed with renewed activity as soldiers scrambled to defensive positions. Weapons were checked, barriers reinforced, and every sensor trained on the sleeping form of Maya Blackstone, who continued to rest peacefully, blissfully unaware of the growing panic she was causing simply by existing. Or so it appeared, because 3 levels below the main camp, in the geothermal processing station that powered their entire operation, a small device that definitely hadn't been there before began to emit a soft, almost musical beeping sound. A sound that perfectly matched the rhythm of Maya's heartbeat, and somewhere in the depths of her poison-induced dreams, Corporal Maya Blackstone was having the most refreshing nap of her entire military career. The beeping from the geothermal station grew more insistent, though none of the Neuraxians had noticed it yet. They were too busy staring at their prisoner, who had just done something that defied every law of physics they understood. Maya Blackstone had started to glow, not literally, of course. But her skin had taken on a healthy flush, her muscles appeared more defined, and there was an almost ethereal quality to her breathing that made even the most battle-hardened Neuraxian soldiers uncomfortable. Rec Nolan, Vexthorn's voice carried the edge of barely controlled panic. Please tell me you have an explanation for why our prisoner looks like she just returned from a luxury spa vacation. I honestly don't know, sir. The science officer's 4 hands trembled as he recalibrated his instruments for the 15th time. Every reading suggests she should be comatose for at least another week. Instead, her cellular regeneration has accelerated beyond anything in the medical databases. Quinzara pointed at the display with obvious alarm. Sir, look at her neural activity. Those aren't the patterns of someone unconscious. They're the patterns of someone in deep meditation. Meditation? Vexthorn's mandibles clicked in disbelief. You're telling me this human turned our most lethal poison into some kind of spiritual retreat? It appears so, sir. Her brain is processing the toxins and converting them into, well, I can only describe it as enhanced performance fuel. Down in the geothermal station, the beeping reached a crescendo and stopped. A soft click echoed through the chamber as Maya's improvised timer mechanism completed its countdown. Maya's eyes opened, not the slow, groggy awakening of someone recovering from poison. Not the confused blinking of someone emerging from unconsciousness. Her eyes snapped open with the clarity and focus of someone who had just enjoyed the most restorative sleep in human history. She sat up slowly, stretching her arms above her head with a satisfied sigh that somehow managed to sound both innocent and terrifying. "Well," she said conversationally, as if addressing old friends, "that was absolutely lovely. I haven't felt this good since basic training." The silence in the observation chamber was deafening. Did she just thank us for poisoning her?" Quinzara whispered. Maya looked directly at the observation window, though the smart glass should have been completely opaque from her side. Her smile was bright, cheerful, and absolutely chilling. "Oh, hello there." She waved enthusiastically. "I know you're watching, Commander Vexthorn. Lovely poison, by the way. Really hit the spot. I feel like I could bench press a transport shuttle right now." "How does she know my name?" Vexthorn demanded. "How can she see us?" "Unknown, sir. The containment protocols are functioning perfectly. Clearly they're not functioning perfectly if she's having a conversation with us." Maya stood and began what appeared to be a series of warm-up exercises. Jumping jacks, push-ups, and stretches that displayed a level of flexibility and strength that definitely hadn't been there 8 hours ago. "You know," she continued, her voice carrying easily through the supposedly soundproof barrier, "most species would be rather upset about being kidnapped and poisoned. But honestly, I needed the rest. Command has been running us ragged lately." She paused her exercises and looked thoughtful. "Though I do have to ask, did you really think one measly little poison was going to keep a human down? I mean, we're the species that drinks ethanol for fun and considers spicy food a recreational activity." Vexthorn's skin had shifted to the pale gray of pure terror. "She's mocking us. Sir, perhaps we should consider releasing her and opening diplomatic negotiations." "Absolutely not. We have 300 elite soldiers, enough firepower to level a small moon, and the most advanced defensive systems in the galaxy. One human, no matter how well rested, cannot possibly." Maya's fist punched through the transparent aluminum wall. The material that could withstand direct hits from plasma cannons cracked like an eggshell. Alarms began blaring throughout the compound as the containment breach triggered every security protocol simultaneously. "Oops," Maya said cheerfully, examining her completely uninjured hand. "Sorry about that. Sometimes I don't know my own strength, especially after a good nap." She stepped through the hole she'd created, dusting off her uniform with casual efficiency. "Now then, where exactly did you put my gear? I'm particularly fond of that plasma rifle. It has sentimental value." Chaos erupted in the command center. Soldiers scrambled for weapons, scientists ran for emergency exits, and automated defense systems swiveled toward the human who was somehow standing in the middle of their supposedly impregnable facility. "All units, converge on containment level 7. Vexthorn roared into his communicator. "Code Omega emergency. The human has escaped." "Escaped?" Maya's voice carried an amused lilt. "Oh, Commander, I wasn't trying to escape. I was recharging." The first wave of Neuraxian soldiers rounded the corner, plasma rifles raised and ready. They opened fire immediately, filling the corridor with enough destructive energy to vaporize a tank. When the light faded, Maya was gone. "Where did she?" one soldier began. "Behind you," Maya said pleasantly. The soldier spun around just in time to see Maya's fist coming toward his face. He flew backward into his companions, and all 5 elite warriors collapsed in an unconscious heap. "Thanks for the workout," Maya called out, already moving toward the next group of approaching soldiers. "This poison of yours is amazing. I feel like I could fight all day." And she could. Whatever the Neuraxians had intended their toxin to do, it had instead triggered some kind of enhanced metabolic state in Maya's human physiology. She moved faster than she ever had, hit harder than she'd thought possible, and showed no signs of fatigue. More soldiers appeared. Maya dispatched them with almost casual efficiency, using their own weapons against them when convenient, her bare hands when it wasn't. This is impossible. Vexthorn screamed into his communicator. How is one human defeating our entire ground force? Deep in the facility, explosions began to rock the foundation. Maya had found the armory. Sir, Quinzara's voice was barely a whisper, perhaps we should consider evacuation procedures. Evacuation? We're the Neuraxian Empire. We don't evacuate from humans. A new voice crackled over the communication system. Maya had apparently found the PA controls. Attention, Neuraxian forces, her voice echoed throughout the compound with cheerful authority. This is Corporal Maya Blackstone of the Earth Defense Force. I'd like to thank you for the most refreshing 8-hour power nap I've had in months. However, I'm afraid I need to be going now. Explosions continued to punctuate her announcement. I've taken the liberty of disabling your primary weapons, destroying your communications array, and placing several explosive charges in rather strategic locations. You have approximately 10 minutes to abandon this facility before it becomes a very large crater. Vexthorn stared at the tactical display in horror. Red warning lights blinked across every major system. Somehow, impossibly, one human soldier had infiltrated and sabotaged their entire operation. Oh, and Commander Vexthorn? Maya's voice carried a note of particular satisfaction. Next time you want to capture a human, I suggest you do your research first. We're really not very good at staying captured. The final explosion was visible from orbit. The Neuraxian battle cruiser, watching from a safe distance, recorded the complete destruction of their ground facility in a series of precisely timed detonations that spoke of expert demolition work. As the dust settled, a single figure emerged from the wreckage, whistling an old Earth tune and carrying a pack full of salvaged Neuraxian technology. Maya Blackstone looked up at the orbiting ship, gave a cheerful wave, and disappeared into the volcanic landscape of Kepler 442b. Behind her, the crater that had once been the Neuraxians' most secure facility continued to smoke, and somewhere in the depths of space, High Command received a priority transmission from Commander Vexthorn. Recommendation: avoid engaging humans during their rest periods. Also, request immediate reassignment to a desk job. Preferably somewhere very far from Earth. Maya, meanwhile, was already planning her next nap. All this excitement was making her sleepy again.